Well, the system has been needing a reset for a long time now. I've been tweeting about this and talking about this for a while as well. If you look at Pakistan over its lifetime, the first 50 years we actually performed quite well economically. The last 30 years has been a disaster. And what has happened since 1988 is that we got into a hybrid system, and except for the first 3 years of Musharraf's rule, from 1988 to today, we've been in a hybrid system. Now, that hybrid system sometimes has relatively more powerful civilian partners, sometimes very weak ones, as we do right now. But it's a hybrid system, and it's completely failed to deliver. So yes, we do need a reset. We need to learn from whatever we have achieved with the system, which we've been trying to use. But somehow I have a feeling that's not what Mr. Mohsin Naqvi had in mind when he talked about a reset. It's a couple of things. One is there are certain ideas which have been floating around for a while now. You must have also heard about them for at least a couple of years now. There's great obsession with creating new provinces, and somehow that will make service delivery to people better, economic growth will accelerate, etc., etc. Uh, but if you ask me, uh, if I was to read it, I'd say there is a system right now in place where you're up against an extremely popular leader who carrying the majority of the country with him. You're having to make do with other partners who are politically weak, but still, it's just if two people get together, they can create a nuisance. Just two people. So if you can divide them, and if there were eight, nine, or 10 of them, would it be much easier? And then you don't have to deal with this nuisance. So that seems to me, and I'm guessing, obviously, I have no idea what is being discussed. Maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe there is a genuine belief that smaller provinces can be better for economic growth. So actually, the two, the situation explains itself. I've been saying this for the last 3 years. As long as Imran Khan is in jail, his popularity can only increase. He doesn't have to do anything. Just sit in jail, and his popularity will keep going up. And as far as your question is concerned, has the strategy succeeded or not? It depends on what objectives you set for yourself. I've been giving this example of the Iran war. If on day one Donald Trump had said Iran is not behaving itself, and we're going to teach them a lesson, and he went in there and did this 40-day of saturation, bombardment, destroyed infrastructure, killed people, and walked away. He would have said, I achieved the objectives. I said we're going to teach them a lesson. Look at a lesson we taught them. The objective he announced was, I'm going to bring regime change and I'm going to get unconditional surrender. And therefore, the same 40 days of campaign, at the end of it, every person in the world would say Donald Trump has failed and actually Iran is the winner of the war. Same result, just on the context of the. So tell me what the objective of the establishment was. If the establishment objective was we have got to contain the popular support of Imran Khan and ensure that it cannot interfere with the running of the system, then yes, it succeeded. And if the objective was that we are going to get Pakistan to see that the direction in which Mr. Khan was leading the country, or in which he wants to lead the country, is not good for the country, and we need a different direction, and that's what's good for the country, then it's completely failed. एक तो I'm older than almost all other Pakistanis, so my history of Pakistan goes back a bit earlier than this. So yeah, so this is the second time it's happening. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto actually went to the gallows without doing any deals. So this is the second time that we are seeing something like this happen. Nawaz Sharif initially did that, 14 months initially in Atak jail after the 99 coup. But then ultimately cut a deal and went abroad. Uh, why that isn't happening? Because there doesn't seem to be any common ground. The positions taken by both the protagonists is an absolute position. So, with that absolute position having been taken by both the sides, uh, the potential for creating some kind of a common ground reduces. And then when the lens from which you're looking at things is entirely different. So if I am in the Imran Khan shoes, my popularity is greater than it has ever been. It continues to grow. I just have to wait it out. And it's a question of, yeah, it might take some time, but it's a question of time. Time is on my side. So why should I compromise? Why should I negotiate? That's his perspective. From the other side, we've got everything controlled. PTI cannot create any kind of an immediate threat to the system. We're running the country as we want to run it. We've got the superior judiciary exactly where we want it. We've got the parliament where we would want to see it. So what's the issue? But let Imran Khan sit in there. So both in terms of the positions that they have taken, no overlap there, and a completely different context from which you're looking at the situation means that 3 years on, there is still no compromise or no way out at this point in time. Okay, so it's saying that hybrid system came into being when Imran Khan came into power is an absolutely absurd notion. Four changes of power between 88 and 99, and every single time the establishment was a partner in change. And the party in opposition was a beneficiary of collaborating with the establishment. 2002 to 2007 was an announced hybrid system. There was a army chief in uniform who was running the country, was the president of the country, the chief executive, and you had a parliament under them. So it's absolutely an absurd notion. And we know which military officer played a critical role in the, what should I say, easing out of Musharraf and Benazir Bhutto coming in, and the role America played in that. So I mean, somebody has to be really, really, क्या बोलना चाहिए इसको, not cognizant of Pakistan history, let's put it politely, to say that this thing started. And did it also continue under Imran Khan? Of course it did. It did in the lead up to the election. It also did during the tenure of the government. Do I think that is a mistake? Okay, again, it depends on how you look at things, right? And I'll tell you two different perspectives for looking at it. One perspective is you have a system where two parties, corrupt to the core, deep pockets, infiltrated into the system, and unshakable. And there is an outsider who's trying to break into the system. So that outsider says, I'm going to come in on the basis of the popular support that I'm going to get out of reaching out to the masses, not years, but over a couple of decades. But if there's somebody, if there is a powerful force which can lend a helping hand, I'll take that help. And ultimately, I'm not somebody who's just being planted in that position. I've got popular support. So that's one way of looking at it. And it did work. And it did come in. And these are debates which may not have been so explicitly stated in these terms the way I'm stating them right now, but that was the kind of division within the party. You heard about this even at that time when you were covering the party. There was this ideological group, right? So there were people like me and Shafqat Mahmood and Shireen Mazari and Arif Alvi, etc. And then there was Jahangir Tareen and Aleem Khan and Parvez Khattak and all these guys. So these guys were more experienced politicians. They had seen the real world. And these guys here, what are you talking about? There is no way we are ever going to make it here. And as a result, whatever was the background scene that was happening, the people that I mentioned had no connection with whatever was going on in the background scene. So Shafqat Mahmood and Asad Umar and company and Shireen Mazari were not in the loop. The other guys who believed in that strategy, and if you ask me, Jahangir Tareen and Parvez Khattak and Aleem Khan, what they said, they delivered on that, right? So Imran Khan became Prime Minister. Then in the running of the country, there was support available from that. But I think it's overstated. The role of the military in that period is overstated, right? I don't think there would have been any significant meeting between the army chief and the prime minister in which I was not present in the room. Right? The few people, 3 or 4 people who were always there. The shots were ultimately being called by the prime minister, except for one important area, and that important area was accountability. There was a strong feeling that Imran Khan had that the establishment was not allowing for the accountability process to proceed. And in his words, they want to keep a plan B in hand, right? But for the operational, like COVID response, which I headed, could I have delivered what I did without the strong military presence and support that I got? No, I wouldn't have. I have to acknowledge that. There were many other instances like that where the military played a positive, supportive role. They do that in the current government also. And by the way, I have no problem then and I have no problem now in that role. The political side is problematic. So getting, for example, budgetary numbers uh, with an ISI officer calling up MNAs and asking them to make sure that they're in attendance, that's problematic and that's wrong. And that over reliance, not just by the way on the military, but also on the bureaucracy, rather than on the political side of the team, I think is was definitely a mistake and something to be learned. I have always felt and this is very interesting. My first argument, political argument that I had with Imran Khan was at my brother's place, who's not in politics, but he was on the Shaukat Khanum Board of Trustees. This is the Musharraf referendum time. And my Imran Khan had come to Karachi. He was at my brother's place, so he had invited the other brothers also, and we all kind of ganged up on Imran Khan. What are you doing? You're supporting a military dictator to do this. You'll never achieve what you want if the military is going to be deeply involved. Uh, so does the collaboration of political parties with the military in the political process of Pakistan, including PTI's collaboration and PMLN and PPP and everybody else, has that played an extremely negative role in the development of Pakistan? Absolutely, yes. And all major political players must acknowledge that this is a mistake which has been committed. They have to publicly acknowledge it. Every single player, without exception, must acknowledge the mistake that has been made. And then the establishment must also concede, look, the results are speaking for themselves. I just told you, look at what has happened to Pakistan's economy versus the rest of the world, the rest of the region, since we've gone into a hybrid system. The reason is they're frustrated because it's not delivering results. And it cannot. This system cannot, this is what they're not understanding. It's got nothing to do with the structure of the provinces and things like that. Those are peripheral issues. Even if you fix them, the fundamental design is flawed. You're trying to run a democracy where the people of the country are not the decision makers. That's a fundamentally flawed design. Okay, so what can they see? Why are they frustrated? They can see that the last 4 years has been the lowest economic growth period in the history of Pakistan. There has never been a 4-year consecutive term in Pakistan's entire history with such a low GDP growth rate as the last 4 years. They know that they can see that Pakistan's exports today are lower than they were 4 years back. And you know you can never ever walk away from IMF unless you grow exports, right? On the political side, they can see that the political narrative of these political parties is absolutely demolished by the political narrative of PTI and Imran Khan. So neither is this current hybrid system delivering political results, nor is it producing economic results. So there is no surprise at all that they're looking for a change in the system. Whatever good has happened in Pakistan in the last year or couple of years has all come from the military side. The way we responded to the Indian aggression last year, the operations in Dur, our response to that created a buzz around the world. It created Pakistan's relevance and the diplomatic role that Pakistan has played. Everybody knows it's not Shahbaz Sharif who's played that role. It is Field Marshal Asim Munir who's played that role. I wish the Field Marshal or the Army Chief didn't have to play that role. I think Pakistan would be a far better place if such things were handled by and led by the elected leaders of the country. But that's what the reality is. At this point in time, it's him who's delivered this. So what's the delivery? If I'm Asim Munir, I'm sitting with Shahbaz Sharif and asking, okay, young man, tell me what have you delivered in the last 4 years? And the answer, he will really, really, really struggle, other than saying, I come to office early in the morning and I work till late at night. Okay, so that's the question that everybody asks, and it goes back to a time when I was not in politics. I have always been this stupid, romantic idiot who believes in democracy, right? So most of my social class, the corporate world that I belong to, the urban elite of Pakistan, were at that point in time anti-democracy. They kind of changed their minds recently, but that's where they used to be. And the similar kind of question used to be asked. And I used to say, like, in simple terms, which a normal Pakistani can relate to. Everybody in Pakistan follows or likes cricket, okay? We're about to beat West Indies. Fantastic. So, and I used to say, how about we ban the Pakistan cricket team and we say they're not going to play any international cricket. After 25 years, we lift that ban. We ask Australia to tour Pakistan, or we go and tour Australia. They will demolish us. And we're going to see, we told you we can't play cricket. So let's ban cricket again. So you have to let the democratic process work. Tehreek-e-Insaf, the PTI government, to be fair, in my opinion, and I've had these debates, like I'm really happy to have this discussion with you in detail also. Like for like, the federal government of PTI, I think, performed far better than the federal governments of PMLN and People's Party, which preceded it. But did we meet the expectations of our supporters? No, we did not. We fell short of those expectations, right? Not everything that we did was good. There were many things where we faltered, where we were not able to deliver. What was the result? We lost several by-elections in Punjab. We lost Peshawar, the city that PTI has swept in 3 elections. Swept, not won, swept every single seat. We lost to JUI. That's how democracy is supposed to work. Let PTI be beaten black and blue by the electorate, and they will sit back and they will try and learn. What has PTI been doing for the last 4 years? Do you think they've been reflecting on what's happened in the past? They're just trying to survive right now. So there is no learning, right? So the growth of the system is not taking place. And it's just not true for PTI. The same is true for PMLN and PPP and all the others. Okay, so I've written about this extensively. I wrote a specific article talking about the need for a new charter of democracy. I really cannot see how Pakistan can move forward without that. And if there is something that I am critical of in terms of PTI policy right now, it is this unwillingness to sit with other political parties and have a conversation. PTI should not legitimize the government. Let's face it, every Pakistani knows, as Mr. Bilawal Bhutto and Sharjeel Memon and all other People's Party leaders remind us on a daily basis these days, it's a Form 47 government. They're not a legitimate government, but they are a political party. Many more people voted for PTI than voted for PMLN. But there are millions who voted for PMLN also. There are millions who voted for PPP. They are political parties. So how can you have a democracy in which you, as a political party, say, I'm not willing to sit down with other political parties? And the absurdity of the situation right now is PTI is in the parliament, you're in the Senate, you're in the committees, right? You walked away from the National Assembly committees now, but you were in the committees, you're still in the committees in the Senate. So you know how committees are formed in the parliament? There is no election. You sit down, the government and the opposition sits down together. There is an agreement on which committees will be given to the opposition, which will be with the government, and there is no voting. There is unanimous approval after that, right? So there, every PTI speaker who stands up in the parliament addresses Ayaz Sadiq as Mr. Speaker. They are accepting him as a legitimate speaker for ordinary business. But when it comes to taking Pakistan out of this impasse where we are, taking Imran Khan out of Adiala, we say we're not going to talk to these people. It's an absolutely absurd notion. Does the PMLN or do these political parties have the power to take the final decision? Absolutely not. Of course they don't. But my point is, if one political party, even if it is PTI, if PTI sits with the army and reaches a new understanding with the army leadership and reaches an understanding and is able to now be on the same one page again with the army, I don't think Pakistan is moving forward. I think that's a circular motion. So if you're going to move Pakistan forward, you will definitely need to have a dialogue with the establishment. As I said, you'll have to sit down and put this case in front of them. Look, this hybrid system ain't delivering, right? But you should do it as a political class. First, the political parties reach an understanding amongst themselves, what I call a new charter of democracy. And then, on the basis of that, you then sit down with the establishment and try and reach the new rules of the game. And how do we attempt to move this country forward? So the current model, the answer is no. I've already said that, right? We've extensively discussed that. But it's happened before. The military has not only taken charge directly after imposing a martial law, but there have also been periods where there is no martial law, but there has been significant intrusion of the military in civilian affairs of the country. The classic case being the Musharraf era, the 2002 to 2007 period. And then as the public opinion changes, as the situation in the country changes, you have seen the military leadership also do strategic retreats, right? So the mere fact, and that impression is correct, that the intrusion is much greater right now, but that does not, our history says that does not mean that now this is permanent and it can never change. See, I don't think he's going to come out unless there is a negotiated settlement. PTI is a massively popular party, but PTI is not a party of violence. PTI, as opposed to the accusation against them, by the way, you're interviewing somebody who's got a dozen and a half active terrorism cases going on against him right now. So, according to the state of Pakistan, we are terrorists, but unfortunately, the reality is we are not. Right? So PTI is not going to pick up guns and just simply going to overrun the system and kill people and take Imran Khan out, right? In the end, even if it is public pressure, that public pressure will force a negotiated settlement. So I'm very, very clear about that. There will be a negotiated settlement. Should Imran Khan be willing to compromise? It's a question of what are you asking him to compromise on? There is a core principle on which Imran Khan should not compromise. And that core principle is Pakistan is meant to be a democracy. A multilingual, multi-ethnic country like Pakistan can only successfully run as a democracy, right? The people of Pakistan have the right to make these decisions of who's going to be in power and who's not going to be in power. There should be no compromise on that. Everything else is detail. There is decades of military involvement in civilian affairs. There is serious intrusion right now. I don't think you're going to go cold turkey. So there can be a roadmap of how that withdrawal takes place. There is also a question of what is the compromise with the other political parties. Should Imran Khan say, okay, you guys may have looted Pakistan, but now for the sake of Pakistan, I forgive everybody and you can enjoy your wealth? No, he should not say that. But Imran Khan also should not say, I'm going to put X and Y in jail when I'm in power, because that is not justice. A system, PTI believes in rule of law, right? That's the core message of PTI, rule of law, justice. And this is not justice where a prime minister can decide who's going to be in jail and who's going to be not. He may have very strong opinions who deserves to be in jail. There is nothing wrong with saying that in my opinion, this guy deserves to be in jail. But his message should be, I will put into place a system where I cannot interfere, nor can any other executive interfere in the system. And whoever has looted Pakistani nation's wealth should be punished for it by that system that is put in place, whether he belongs to PTI or to any of the other political parties. That is the nuance change that needs to be made. There are things like in the on a practical side, accountability law, because this is something that I remember we had discussed with the Prime Minister. There was a couple of meetings with the opposition at that time when we were in government. And I remember me and Fawad Chaudhry, at least two guys, arguing for this. That the current accountability system where you can pick up somebody on suspicion, zero proof, and just throw him behind bar for months on end while you're investigating. That's not justice. That's not a due process of law. So So take out the accountability system should not be a vehicle for vengeance. It should be an institution for ensuring good governance. That's what it should be for. Yeah, Imran Khan has got nothing against new provinces. We were, as a political party and Imran Khan as a leader, supportive of his South Punjab province. And also, the KP Assembly had voted for Hazara Suba, and we are supportive of that also. Imran Khan is supportive of new provinces, which are the demands of the people, where a political consensus can be created. But a notion, and I love this word which is used, administrative units. It makes it sound like you're dealing with machinery where you can take one part out of here and plug that part somewhere else, as if no human beings exist in those boundaries, as if they have no culture, no history, no feelings. For heaven's sakes, you're dealing with human beings now. I was listening to it and it just reminded me of going back a century. You're sitting with Mr. Sykes and Mr. Picot, the British and the French gentlemen, and who are sitting on a map and they're just drawing lines dividing Middle East. And 100 years later, we can't stop fighting. Similarly, Cyril Ratcliffe comes in here and he says, okay, the overall district is Muslim majority, and according to the rules that have been set, this should be a part of Pakistan. But no, I'm going to take the Gurdaspur Tehsil out of here and I'm going to make it a part of India. And 75 years later, Pakistan and India are still fighting over it, and 70,000 Kashmiris have died as a result of those decisions. So please, these are human beings and human lives that you're dealing with. So they're not administrative units. They're political beings, they're human beings, and therefore, by definition, they're political. And if through a open political process, you create consensus, as far as I am concerned, create as many provinces as you want. I don't know how long it can continue, but what it's going to lead to is very, very clear. And you can see it in the last 4 years also. Pakistan will be stuck in this quagmire. Pakistan will continue to survive but not thrive. Pakistan's challenges, both economic and security challenges, will grow. They are far greater today than they were at that. That's what happens when there is no normal democratic process which is being played out, when the court system, the judicial system is not operating as a safety valve, then this is what happens. You'll see more and more of non-democratic, non-rule-based opposition, which is going to express itself, unfortunately, often in violent terms. So nothing good is going to happen to Pakistan if we continue to force the system to continue as it is. Can it be dragged out for many, many years? Yeah, I think it can be. So if I start from post-vote of no confidence, I would say the biggest mistake that was made, it was a common mistake on both sides. The establishment underestimated Imran Khan, and Imran Khan underestimated the establishment. So I think the establishment underestimated the popular appeal of Imran Khan and what the reaction of the people was going to be if coercive measures were used to suppress Imran Khan. And they didn't realize that the more coercion you use, the more popular that he will become. As I said, right now, all he has to do is just sit in jail and he'll keep getting more and more popular. That's the mistake that was made on the military side. I think Imran Khan underestimated the ability of the military to control all institutions in the system. And he had this, I would say, innocent, naive belief that because something is written in the constitution, therefore that must happen. So that underestimation of each other, and I'm not saying this now. I used to say this to those who were close to me, my family members, in the lead up to this. Something very bad is going to happen because both sides are underestimating the other side. And that is why perhaps when some sensible compromises could have been and should have been made were not made by both sides because they were both underestimating the other side.